All right, let us say hello once again to the legend, one of the all-time greats, the former UFC welterweight champion of the world, and the man who returns to action, UFC 276, July 2nd in Las Vegas to face Bryan Barberena on the ESPN prelims, folks. That's how loaded this card is. Let us welcome back ruthless Robbie Lawler. Robbie, good to see you, sir. This background is tremendous. How are you?
Great. How you doing?
I'm doing great. So we're back for another one, and we'll get into the fight in a moment, but I want to begin with your last fight, UFC 266, take on Nick Diaz. Over 17 years after the first meeting, there was a bit of drama with the weight classes. Not going to talk about that, but in the end, what matters is you went in there, you got one back in a fun fight with Nick, avenged one of the early losses of your career. What did that night, that win, that performance, all of it, what did that mean to you?
Just another fight, but he definitely got me excited to fight again. Camp went really well, got me clicking on all cylinders. Everyone at Sanford MMA did a great job of getting me ready for the fight, so it was nice to go out there and put on a good performance for the fans to see.
I know it was just another fight for you. It got you excited. That's the important thing at this point in your career, is that you get fights that get you excited, because if you have to leave your family, like, you want to be up for it, it's got to be something that interests you. So was there at least a small part of you that was like, all right, I got one back on this guy. Like, I can move on. No one has to really ask me about it anymore. Is there like at least a small piece of you that feels that way?
Not really. It's just another fight. Obviously he's a big name, and it's just he got me excited, and I still lost 17 years ago. It's just all about getting better and competing and trying to do it at a high level and being excited. And I thank him for getting me excited again.
Now you get Bryan Barberena, big card, International Fight Week. But like you've said, and like I just said a couple of seconds ago, it's fights that are going to get you excited. That's going to motivate you moving forward. And I assume this fight with this guy checks those boxes for you, because we're taking this fight on July 2nd. What about Bryan made you say, you know what? This one does it for me. I'm in. I'm pumped. Let's go.
It's not so much that. It's just using the momentum for my last fight to kind of keep training and doing the right things, and just keeping the momentum going. Obviously, Bryan comes to fight, put on a great performance last time he fought. So it's just work. Just going out there, competing and having fun.
So has your stance changed a little bit from the pre-Nick Diaz sort of build to the fight? Because, going back, it's, I got to get excited. Nick got you excited. So this is just sort of the carryover effect from that fight. Now there's like a different kind of motivation for you after that performance. Is that fair to say?
I don't know. It's not. It's just like every fight's different. Every training camp's different. But I feel like, my body feels great. I'm excited. Training's gone really well, and I'm doing the right things, and I feel good. My training partners did a great job of getting me ready for this fight. Coaches are doing a great job. So it's just kind of carry over from the enthusiasm of my last fight.
Did you watch Bryan's fight with Matt Brown earlier this year? If so, what did you think of it? Did you enjoy it? Because that was a scrap.
No, I didn't watch that. I watched another fight. No, I didn't watch that one.
Oh, I'm surprised that one's I thought that was going to be like right up your alley a little bit. Even not even just because of the fight, but just, two wily vets getting in there and scrapping and in a Robbie Lawler fan friendly kind of style. So I'm kind of surprised you didn't watch it, but you're a busy guy, so you'd rather hang out with your family.
No, I don't watch exactly. I don't watch like all the fights unless training partners are fighting or happen to be watching a certain pay-per-view or something. But I don't watch too many fights. I watch some boxing and just kind of like whatever I feel like doing.
The Office. I know you like The Office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember, as sort of a guy it could be a teammate or whatever, do you remember the last fight you were like really excited to watch that you made an appointment viewing, or does that not really happen at all for you these days?
No, I don't really get excited about. Just been doing this for so long. It's part of the business now. Just seeing a lot of fights, boxing fights, MMA fights, kickboxing fights. It's just a sport.
Yeah. How important is that for you to just separate yourself from it? Because it's hard earlier on. I'm sure earlier on in your career, you weren't really like that. But now, like, you're able to find, it's not just, you're not Robbie Lawler, the fighter, all the time. You're Robbie Lawler, the family man, Robbie Lawler, the dad. Like, you're able to separate the two. Not a lot of fighters can do that.
Yeah, it just happened over time. I mean, obviously I still watch fights, but I have a lot going on. And I think when you're younger, you have more time and you need to put in that time to hone your skills and toughen your body, and those sharpen everything. But as you get older, you can't do as much, because like the more you do, the more tired you get. So it's like finding that balance on, I want to work hard, but I want to make sure I'm doing it smart and so that I can recover. So like it's all balance, and I'm figuring it out.
Do you try to pass that lesson along to some of the up and comers who I'm sure we're going to talk about in this conversation at some point? Just find that balance. Don't make this like everything. You know what I mean? Like, do you try to pass that wisdom along to them at all?
If they ask, but I don't really like go out there and like try to force feed anybody. If they ask me what I think and what I'm doing and they're interested, I'll let them know. But they have to be willing and want to receive information. So it's just, if there's something I can give to one of these fighters, I'll do it.
I feel like every time we speak, there's something going on that's kind of, I don't know if, I guess controversial is kind of the word in MMA with rulings and rules and stuff. Like the last time we spoke, we were talking about the oblique kick and whether or not it should be legal. And you were like, come on, we've been doing this a long time. It should definitely be legal. But now we're seeing a lot of these close fights get scored in different ways. And there's all the, now that it's always talk about open scoring. Should we have open scoring? Should it be a thing across the board? Every other sport, there's a scoreboard, you know where you stand. MMA, you don't have that. And sometimes these fights are decided by, I guess, not knowing where the scorecards are. Are you a fan of open scoring? I'm sure at this point you don't really care, but would you want to see open scoring in the future, or does that not change much for you?
It doesn't change much, because like from my point of view, I mean, what's it going to do? Like get me to coast, get somebody to fight a little harder? Like, you're looking for incentive for these guys to like figure out ways to game the system. Just go out there and fight and try to beat somebody up and win. I mean, this sport's pretty simple to me, at least. Just go out there, fight, look to finish people, and don't leave it up to the judges. And sometimes judges make mistakes or see stuff differently than maybe you're viewing it. But it's all about getting better. And no one gets everything right 100% of the time.
Yeah. It takes away from the drama a little bit too, you know, when you get two guys standing there, you don't know where the fight's going to go or how it's going to be scored. For the viewer, it creates a little bit of drama, right? Ali Quinta I was talking to about this, and he was like, yeah, even as a fighter, it takes away from it a little bit, not knowing, because it takes some of that surprise, that drama, the athlete's perspective out of it a little bit. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, but I don't really, you're just like, as soon as you go to the judges, it's like, all right, my job is done. I did all I can. Now we're just waiting to see what they thought about it. So it's not, the pressure's off by then.
I might as well mention a fighter you're familiar with that was attached to this conversation not too long ago. Logan Storley is the new interim welterweight champion over at Bellator, beats Michael Page. People went bananas on social media with how that fight was scored. But in the end, like you said, once it goes to the judges, it's out of their hands. Logan wins the belt. It's on his mantle. What was that like for you to see? Because I know how important it is for you to, and I know Logan's talked about you in such a positive way, how much of an influence you have been on his career. What was that like for you to see Logan get that belt wrapped around his waist?
No, it was good. He put in a lot of hard work over the years, and obviously his training partners did a good job of pushing him and getting ready for that fight. But once again, it's like, where was that fight? Where did most of it take place? Where Logan wanted it to take place. Not a lot of damage from either guy. So it all depends on how you score fights. And you never know. He did a great job of sticking to the game plan and putting a dangerous opponent on his butt and just grinding him out.
Ian Gary is another guy at Sanford MMA who's on the come up as well. And he's actually going to be on this card with you July 2nd. Have you had a lot of time to work with Ian? I know he's in your weight class. He just made the move to Florida. He's at Sanford MMA full time. Thoughts on him, his ceiling? Have you been able to work with him in the gym?
A little bit for this camp, just because I don't know, he has to work a little bit. And I mean, he's a really good opponent, or a really good fighter, I should say. He's young in the game, but he's trying to learn and better himself. And he's a quick learner. So we're doing a great job with him. He moves well, and he's confident, which is very important.
He'll obviously try to set the table for you because he's fighting Gabe Green before you step in there. But you and Brian Barmarina are going to go in there. The fans are super jacked when this fight was announced. What's the goal? I mean, obviously the goal is to win, but what's the goal for you to kind of keep this momentum moving forward? How do you see this all working out in your favor? What do you think?
Just go out there and showcase my skills, showcase what I'm capable of now. And I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, and it's just putting it all together on that night. It's not about the training camp you put in or the weight cut or any of those things. It's like, how good can you be, and can you showcase your skills when it matters?
A few last things, and I appreciate the time. First, in order for you to keep this train moving, you want to keep this momentum going. You want exciting fights, obviously. I'm curious, like, what else is left for you to do? Like, are there any guys in this division where you're like, I still can't believe I haven't fought this guy yet, or I need to do this, I need to do this? Like, what's left for you to do on that aspect?
I'm just gonna compete, try to fight the best guys. We'll see. Like, my management goes to Hunter and Dana and Sean and try to figure out something that makes sense. So just keep that ball rolling so we can keep moving up. This will be my first fight in 2 years, pretty much, at 170 also. So
that's a good point. That's a good point, because the other one went up a weight class. So if your manager calls you up on the phone and he says, Robbie, the UFC's giving you open season, you pick, fight anybody you want, who you picking?
Let's fight for the title.
There you go. What do you think of Usman as the champion right now? He's great, right?
Doing a great job. I mean, training hard, winning fights, beating people up pretty well, and he's improving.
You've been a part of so many legendary battles, and we're approaching the 7-year anniversary of the Rory MacDonald fight at UFC 189. And then a few months after that, will be the 7-year anniversary of the Carlos Condit fight, which, if you ask anybody who's been a fan for the last decade, they will say that those are two of the greatest fights in the history of the sport. And it seems to be 50-50 split. Like, half say it's the Rory fight, half say it's the Condit fight. Maybe there's a couple of oddballs in there, but break the tie, Robbie. Which one of those fights mean more? Which one was better? Like, if you could only go back for the rest of time and you could only watch one of those fights, which one would you keep around? Is it the Condit fight or the Rory fight?
Probably the Rory fight. I mean, Condit fight was a really good fight. But I feel like the atmosphere of that event was awesome. The Irish fans were there in full force. The electricity in the arena was awesome. And we just came to fight.
What does that mean to you when people ask you about those two fights and call them two of the greatest fights of all time?
I mean, obviously it's a big thing to even be mentioned up there, but I mean, on to the next is how I am. It's like, okay, like, helping out other guys, like, I have a lot of training partners who need help. So those are the kinds of things that I focus on. How can I be better today than I was yesterday? Like, those types of things. Like, I can't.
So you don't reflect on those fights at all?
Those things are done. Like, no exciting fights. Like, I'm glad I had the opportunity to go out there and, like, showcase, like, who I am inside. I mean, because a lot of times like what you see out there is like a lot of fighting spirit. So like I'm glad I was able to get put in a situation where those things came out, those type of performances, and it has to do with who I was fighting, and it has to do with who I am inside, but it also has to do with my training partners getting me ready for those fights, my coaches getting me ready for those fights. So a lot went into those, and I'm just glad I was able to get some victories.
It's always so amazing talking to you about this stuff, because you're just the vision you have of the sport and how you live your life these days is incredible. Because most fighters would be going back and watching those fights every month, and you're just like, we're over it. Bryan Barberena, now we're on. Did you watch Gilbert fight? Obviously, Gilbert's your teammate. Did you watch Gilbert fight Chimaev? Because that was another one of those classics. What did you think of that fight?
Really good fight. Yeah, Gilbert did a great job. Chimaev did a great job. They were digging deep. That was the first time Chimaev got pushed in the UFC. So it was good to see. And I mean, there's fighters out there.
Hell yeah. Big reason you're here. Actually, the biggest reason you're here is you got the shirt on, you get the hat on. Killcliff fight team, along with the aforementioned Gilbert Burns, Israel Adesanya, who's headlining this card next Saturday, Logan Storley, as you mentioned. As an energy drink enthusiast myself, I'm curious what this relationship has meant to you and your team at this stage in your career, because you talk about your teammates and your coaches getting ready for these fights. It's nice to have a great company on board to help give you that push as well, does it not?
For sure. I mean, first of all, the drinks are tremendous, pretty healthy. I mean, green tea, caffeine, some vitamin B, like really tastes well, low calorie, which is nice, especially when you're cutting weight. So they have some CBD drinks also, but nice to have this company behind us, pushing us and be a part of promoting our gym.
Yeah. The last time we spoke, you mentioned the green tea and some of the other flavors, but it seems like every time I go on the website, there's new flavors. They keep adding to the roster. Have you tried any of the new ones? If I have to try one, what am I going for right now? What's the one I need to get?
I would just go with like whatever flavor you like. So like my favorite flavor is the orange, blood orange. Like that's my favorite flavor. And then there's the goat, which is good, which is more like a grape. So, but some people love the Joe Rogan, flavor. That's not my favorite, but
so go with what you would get, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll have to go get myself one. And it's always an honor to chat with you, my man. Excited for this fight with Bryan Barberena. Should be phenomenal. I will be in Vegas for this card. It's actually my first time ever in Las Vegas, Robbie. What should I expect? I've never been there. I've been covering the sport for 7 years and never been to Vegas. What should I expect?
It's gonna be hot. It's gonna be hot. I mean, I've been to Vegas so many times. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people moving around. Definitely a lot of fight fans. International Fight Week. Hopefully, they're excited to put on an amazing card. We have a lot of champions on the card. A lot of people from overseas are going to be here, so it's star-studded fights.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for the advice. And as always, for the time.
Are you going to be going to the expo? I don't even know. Like, I think I went to the expo like 12 years ago or something, if not longer. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess I've never
have, because you've never
I know.
Vegas, so.
Yeah, I know there's the Hall of Fame. There's all this stuff going on. And I know they haven't really done this to this level in the last few years because of the pandemic. Yep. So this is almost like the culmination, the return. It's like, we're here, yep. We're back, like we're over all this. And now like we are as close to normal as we are going to be at this point. I think that's pretty cool. And that should be almost 189-ish vibes for you, Robbie.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. I'm just kind of like,
well,
looking forward.
Yeah, man. Well, either way, I will see you out there in some capacity, and I wish you all the best in the closing stages of camp. And I will see you in Sin City, my man.
All right, take it easy.